let me look up something real quick. Let's see. Mariah has 5 Grammys. Okay. All those millions sold. 5 Grammys. All right. Madonna has 7. Biggest pop star ever. Missy only has 4, but she produced all those hits. She has all her own hits. Rihanna has 9. Okay. 14 number ones, 9 Grammys. Biggest digital artist of all time. Biggest streaming artist. Okay. Beyonce has 24. Why? Michael has 13. Okay. Janet only has 5. Janet only has 5 Grammys. Okay. Nas has 0. Snoop Dogg has 0. Whitney only has 6. Katy Perry has 0. Tupac and Biggie have 0. Why are some of the biggest artists in the world not that awarded from the biggest music award show of all time? Interesting. Yo, what's up, guys? You know who it is, Eugene Smilez, and it's that time of year again. The Grammys have announced their nominations for, all the music that have come out in the past year. Again, the second year in a row for me. This is a very weak nominations list. But before I even do my yearly Grammy predictions that y'all love so much, thanks for supporting those. I'll put links for them somewhere. We're going to talk about, are the Grammys even important? Do they matter? Do award shows matter? But before we get started, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Y'all know, do all that. Like, a lot of y'all be watching my videos and y'all be subscribing. Like, subscribe. Help me out. So, if you've heard my intro, a lot of the biggest artists don't even have that many Grammys, which is kind of strange. So, if you don't know, the Grammys is not like a fan voted. Like, I hate fan voted awards. We'll talk about that later. But it's not fan voted. It's basically voted by other people in the industry. There's certain parameters. And I'll put a link for the Grammys in the bottom. But it's certain parameters, like you have to be in the industry for a certain amount of years, have had to release music or produced music and all this other stuff. Like you basically have to work in the industry and work in the music industry to be able to register, to be able to vote, to be on the Grammy committee. So you're basically getting awarded by your peers, which is good. And it also can be bad because a lot of people, they might vote for you, if they want to suck up to you or possibly work with you. And then a lot of people, might not vote for you because they don't like you. So it's always a thing of if the Grammys are important. The Weeknd and Halsey, I'll put her picture up. I always mess up her name. They have come out to speak against the Grammys. In the past, Jay-Z has spoke against the Grammys. Even like when he lost with 444, he lost all 8 nominations. He spoke against the Grammys. There's been so many other artists that have spoken against the Grammys, basically saying that they were treated unfair. They weren't nominated in categories or nominated at all like they think they should. They didn't win anything. A lot of people have, which is so interesting because those same people do not support the award shows that do nominate and give them awards. So it's kind of a thing. But are award shows important? Do you think they're important? I'm going to put up a poll. I want y'all to vote. Are award shows important? Are the Grammys important? In the overall scheme of the Grammys and the overall thing, I don't think award shows are important. I don't think the Grammys are important just overall. Because when you're a music artist, your goal is to sell music. If you're in the entertainment business. Now, some people just make music for fun. They might give it away on like free services or just like to perform it. Might not be trying to make music or make money from it. But in the grand scheme of things, your goal is to sell music, not win awards. It just is what it is. Britney Spears, one of the biggest pop artists of the late 90s, early 2000s. Her Oops, I Did It Again album just went diamond. Congratulations, Britney, and happy birthday. 1 Grammy for Toxic. 1. She did not win Best New Artist. She was nominated against Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera won. She sold more records than Christina Aguilera. So it's just kind of like, what matters when it comes to the Grammys? I personally don't think the Grammys matter when it comes to awards. Awards don't matter because that should not be the focus. But the issue is we, as the people, as the fans and the media, put so much emphasis on award shows and a lot more emphasis on the Grammys. I do it. I get excited about the Grammys every year. And it might be because I grew up watching the Grammys and watching award shows and being like, oh my God, this is the biggest music night ever. You know, that's how they used to promote it when I was growing up. And it kind of got stuck in me. And every year I do a Grammys prediction. And I don't always do a prediction for every award show, but I definitely do one for the Grammys. Why is that? It's because we just give it so much power and we don't realize how much power we give things, and we give the Grammys so much power. So because it has so much power and there's so much media around it, people feel like they should be nominated for their work. Now, I personally believe if you are the biggest selling of the year, if you have broken records, if you've dominated charts, you should be nominated for the Grammys on most instances, even if it's just in your genre. For instance, the Weeknd song Blinding Lights has been top 10 for an entire year. It just had its celebration, its 1 year of a release, and it's still a top 10 song. I expected the Weeknd to be nominated for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Album of the Year. His album has been doing amazing. That song has been doing amazing. And he got nothing. And this is why we're going to talk about how do you win a Grammy or how you lose at the Grammys. That's going to be a lot of what this video is about. So, popularity contest. As I mentioned before, the Grammys, they're voted on by other people in the industry. So some of your other artists that you might make songs with or on record labels with, they're voting. Some of the other producers, songwriters, anybody who is eligible to be in the Grammy committee are voting. And the thing is, if you're very much liked, you might just win a Grammy. So that's one of the things. And one of the things I want to mention with that is, like, for instance, Beyonce, right? Beyonce has 24 Grammys. Beyonce is not the biggest selling artist of all time. She's not even close. She does not have, like, the most #1 hits. She does not have the most top 10 hits. She is not that big when you're looking at, like, numbers and sales. Now, she's a great touring artist, but Beyonce and her father have created this thing where every time her name is mentioned, it rings bells. Ding, 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 it rings bells. It's like, oh my God, Beyonce's on this, Beyonce's on that, or Beyonce's here. Like, it's a thing, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people look up to Beyonce and they look up to her work ethic, which she has an incredible work ethic. So they just vote for her because of that. Oh, it's Beyonce in this. And the thing is with Beyonce, she makes, most of her music is R&B music. It's not really pop music. It's not dance music. So when she's up against other R&B artists who are not as popular as her, they're going to vote for her even when she does not make music that's better than them or did not make an album that's better than them. That's another part of the Grammy thing. It's like name recognition. For instance, Beyonce's I Am Sasha Fierce was up against Trey Songz Ready. Trey Songz Ready had been, like, praised as, like, the best R&B album of the year. He had amazing hit songs, amazing songs that year. Like, that's probably his best album. It was up against Sasha Fierce. If y'all watched my Beyonce's album rank, Sasha Fierce is not that girl. And, you know, Single Ladies was the shining spot on that album. And because of that, it was like, I think it was Beyonce versus Trey Songz. People were like, you know, especially people that aren't that much into R&B and they're looking at that, they're like, I'm going to vote for Beyonce. And that's exactly what happened. Beyonce ended up winning over Trey, even though Trey had the better album. That's what happened with Chris Brown. The one Grammy Chris Brown has, this is before they created the urban contemporary category. It was like Chris Brown versus, like, Charlie Wilson and Kelly Price. It was way off. Chris Brown was the only like contemporary artist versus a whole bunch of older R&B artists. And Chris Brown won. That next year, they created urban contemporary category for the albums because they noticed that they probably need to separate like your traditional R&B with your contemporary R&B. So it was like Chris Brown just kind of got a Grammy because, you know, people probably knew who he were more familiar with who he was and the songs that he had that year. So when you're thinking about it in that aspect, and you're just like, oh, well, this person probably has all these Grammys because they were up against people that were not as popular as them, or people that, you know, they just didn't know. Do the Grammys really matter? To me, no. Because, again, if it's a popularity contest, even the ugliest person might win, you know, Homecoming King, but if they're more popular, they're going to win. My next point, a success story. So, for instance, like last year, I hated the nominees last year. I thought they were crazy. It was, you know, big year for Lizzo, Lil Nas X, Billie Eilish had an amazing year. And it's like, I felt like a lot of those awards for Lil Nas X and Lizzo, who I expected both of them to lose. I didn't expect them to win any Grammys, but they ended up winning. Lizzo won 3, Lil Nas won 2. I felt those were Grammys that were given because of their story. Lizzo had an incredible year. She was in the media a lot because she had 2 songs that were like 3-4 years old that resurfaced on the charts and gained multiple multiple stats on charts and topped a lot of charts and then gained nominations. So, and it was also like the big girl, right? You know, Lizzo's the big girl. People were coming down on her because she was a big girl, and this is a thing too. And that was kind of a political thing, which we'll get in political also a little bit later. But that joined up with her success story of her being homeless and her being in a bad relationship and her sleeping in her car and this and that and the third, and her continuously grinding and grinding and grinding to get to the status where I think that's what won her Grammys. Because personally, I love Lizzo as like I love her as an entertainer, like a performer. I love to watch her perform, but I'm not that big of a fan of her music. I don't listen to Lizzo's music. And I think that's what won. Same thing with Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X had a lot going on when Old Town Road came out and it was on country stations. The next thing you know, they ripped it from country stations. And then it just blew up even bigger, and he added Billy Ray Cyrus to it. It was just like, okay, this, you know, he came out as gay. That was another thing. It was a political thing for me. Like, I felt like the Grammys wanted to make a statement. Let's give this big black woman a Grammy. And she's had a great success story. Then let's also give Lil Nas X, a little gay boy who was kind of discriminated against in the country community, a Grammy also. Now, Lil Nas X, I definitely think he deserved it for Old Town Road, especially the video. But I think that that's a lot of what it was. And you're probably like, oh, well, they're voting for him. They don't vote for everything. I feel like people do vote, but also the Grammys does go behind and do kind of their own thing. For instance, so the whole thing with like The Weeknd and The Weeknd not being nominated for any Grammys, which doesn't make any sense, because if you're a huge artist, if you've had a huge year like The Weeknd has had, you're gonna get nominated for something. You're gonna get nominated for something. It just is what it is. But for him not to get nominated for anything, there had to be some fuckery going on. Seriously. So it came out that The Weeknd, you know, a little bit before the Grammys were announced, The Weeknd was announced as a Super Bowl performer for 2021. Y'all know the Grammys and Super Bowl are like a week apart. So an article came out talking about how The Weeknd was supposed to perform at the Grammys and at the Super Bowl. The Grammys, whoever the powers may be, wanted The Weeknd to just perform at the Grammys, not the Super Bowl. What would you choose? Super Bowl is huge. It's going to be seen by more people around the world. It's like, yes, if you perform at the Grammys, your sales are usually going to go up. If you win, your sales are usually going to go up. But Super Bowl, you could perform longer. It's like 15 minutes, and you can get a lot more songs and a lot more sales. And that's like a big goal for people, right? So The Weeknd chose the Super Bowl. And apparently it was discussed that he would do both. They didn't want him to do both, but he would do both. Nominations came out. Weeknd's not nominated. Huh. Interesting, right? Because there's no way in hell that The Weeknd would have a great year like he had and not be nominated. Unless there's some fuckery going on. So if this was a one-time instance, I would be like, maybe... Let's go back to Ariana Grande. The year she had Sweetener, the year that Sweetener was nominated and won, Sweetener, that year she was supposed to perform at the Grammys. They wanted her to perform a slower song. They wanted her to perform something, I can't remember the song, but they wanted her to perform a slower song. And she wanted to perform, I think Seven Rings was out at the time, and she wanted to perform Seven Rings or something like that, something a little bit more upbeat. They didn't want her to perform it. They wanted her to perform something else. She declined. She said she wasn't going to perform. She won her Grammy that year. The next year, I want to say Ariana maybe had 6 nominations. I can't remember, but she had a lot of nominations that year, including Album of the Year and a lot of the big, Seven Rings was nominated for like Record of the Year, which was weird. I thought Thank You Next would have been nominated. But, she was nominated for huge awards and a lot of awards that year, which some I feel like she should have won. She did perform that year. She got 0 Grammys. 0. Zilch. None. She got no Grammys. And they also had her in the front row, right? Right. Let's go back to Rihanna, Anti. The year before Anti was nominated, right when it came out, Rihanna was supposed to perform Kiss It Better. Rihanna had gotten sick or something. It came out that she had like kind of a nervous breakdown or something, but Rihanna was unable to perform that year. She had to pull out almost last minute. I think she had rehearsal, but had to pull out last minute. Next year, after Anti does amazing, amazing numbers, next year, Anti is nominated in 8 categories. Rihanna's nominated in 8 categories, including Best Packaging. Packaging is literally like, where's my Anti at? My Anti is over there. Packaging is literally like when you open the booklet of the CD or the vinyl, and Rihanna had the braille, and she had an artist paint this. Like, Rihanna put a lot of work and meaning behind, sorry, I have dogs out here and one of them is being annoying to the other one. So a lot of work and meaning behind Anti and the artwork for Anti and the book and the packaging for Anti. Rihanna won 0. She won 0. 0 Grammys. But they had Rihanna in the front row. And what's so funny, though, that same footage, they keep using and retweeting, oh, it's Grammy season, and they're using this picture of Rihanna. No, stop using pictures of Rihanna. She got 0 wins for Anti. 0. She should have at least gotten one. So, Rihanna was unable to perform, get snubbed. Ariana declined to perform, get snubbed. Weeknd chose the Super Bowl over the Grammys, get snubbed. It looks like a pattern, doesn't it? And there's been plenty of other years where, Mariah's been snubbed. She's been nominated. Like, how do you have all these records sold and all these huge hits? And the thing is, Mariah doesn't make, like, cheap music. She takes her time and writes kind of meaningful, very popular pop music. You know what I'm saying? So, how does she only have, like, 5 Grammys? Janet Jackson, 5 Grammys. Like, do y'all see that here? So it's kind of a politic kind of thing. It's like, if y'all don't do what I say y'all are gonna, like, what I say y'all should do, we're gonna make sure you're not nominated, or we're gonna use you because Ariana is a draw, Rihanna is a draw. If the fans know that Rihanna and Ariana are not only nominated, but if they're sitting front row, if they're at the event, oh, they're gonna watch the Grammys, and they're gonna watch the Grammys and they're going to get ad revenue off of that, and they can get memes off of that, and they can get tweets and views. So they use them and not give them any awards. Isn't that quite interesting? So let's talk about Beyonce, because Beyonce has 24 Grammys. And, you know, as I mentioned before, Beyonce is super talented. She deserves a lot of awards, but I don't feel like all those Grammys she deserves. But think about it. How many times have Beyonce performed at the Grammys or in a Grammy event? Almost every time she's been nominated, right? Dangerously in Love. With Single Ladies that year, she performed. Even with Lemonade, she performed. Beyonce stopped when she had Lemonade and Beyonce was campaigning. I feel like Lemonade was created to win Album of the Year, right? She didn't win Album of the Year. They gave her the little R&B categories. Thanks, Beyonce, for sitting front row and performing for us, giving us some views, but we're going to give this to Adele. That's not weird to y'all? Beyonce is probably the artist that has performed, definitely the black artist that has performed at the Grammys the most. And she's the artist since her first release that has the most Grammys. Don't y'all see the correlation with that? It's like, oh, Beyonce, keep coming and doing these favors for us, and we'll just keep giving you awards. And is it weird that she's nominated this year? Like, Black Parade is nominated a lot in a lot of categories. Black Parade was not a huge song. I do like Black Parade, but I just find it weird that she's nominated in so many categories when you have especially other black female artists who had really amazing projects this year. But Black Parade and Beyonce and Savage is nominated in all these categories. Are they trying to get Beyonce to show up and possibly perform? And if Beyonce does not show up or does not perform, will Beyonce win anything? We'll talk about that in my Grammys predictions video. Another thing which is pretty weird is like the Grammys awards men way more than they award women. And if they do award women, it's only for singing. Cardi B won her Grammy for Best Rap Album 2 years ago. And Cardi B was the first female solo artist to win. Lauryn Hill won it with the Fugees, which was a group. So we don't really count Lauryn Hill with that. But out of all the female artists who have been nominated or even been around, female rap artists, Cardi B is the first to win that category. Again, I think Cardi B had a huge year. Sales were amazing. Streams were amazing. She was definitely the biggest selling and best performing out of the category. She had the success story, being a stripper to being a reality star to having #1 hits, multiple #1 hits within a year, breaking records. She definitely had a success story. And Cardi B is liked by almost everybody. Everybody that's somebody likes Cardi B. So she fits all of those things. And I mean, people were familiar with her anyway, but she fits all of them. She had the biggest name. So that's exactly why I feel like Cardi B won. She did deserve it. She definitely deserved it, but I feel like that's why she won. But Cardi was the first female rapper to win that category. Missy Elliott had been nominated. We've had Nicki Minaj was basically the only major female rapper to be around for almost 10 years. Iggy Azalea had a huge year. She was nominated in that category. Lil' Kim was nominated, I think, once in that category. Eve was out. Like, The Brat was out at one point. Trina was out at one point. And, you know, some of the people might be like, I don't see them being nominated, but some of them were. Especially like Eve, especially Lil' Kim, especially Missy Elliott. These were all people that should have won or been nominated in these categories multiple times, and they weren't. And it's weird because it's just like, y'all don't have a problem with giving it to a male. Y'all give it to the male all the time. Like, all the time. Let's look at Missy Elliott. How many hits have Missy produced throughout her career? I mean, from the 90s to now. How many hits, especially R&B hits? but yet Missy has never been nominated for Producer of the Year. But yet her best friend and counterpart, Timbaland, has been nominated and won. Pharrell has been nominated and won.
That's not weird to y'all?
But somebody like Adele, who's a female that sings, has never lost a Grammy category. Ever. Yeah, look it up. Every category that Adele has been nominated for, she's never lost.
That's not weird to y'all?
Everything I say is coming from facts. I'm going to put links down in the comment. But do you think the Grammys matter? Because for me, the Grammys do not matter. But I think they are looked at being so important because, again, you get that exposure because the Grammys has that big name. And you're nominated. Oh, my God, I'm nominated for a Grammy. You're going to get that exposure. You're going to get that media attention. Your sales are going to go up because I know, especially when I do my predictions videos, I'm like, who is this? Let me go listen to their music really quick. Sometimes I don't even know people have new projects out. And I'm like, oh, let me go listen to this. So I definitely go listen to people, go listen to their music when I see that they're nominated so I can decide who I think is going to win. But in the grand scheme of things, especially after you meet a certain plateau, like if Beyonce never wins another Grammy, she's going to be fine. Janet, Mariah, Rihanna, they're going to be fine. And people like Katy Perry, who have had amazing careers and matched records with like Michael Jackson, has never won a Grammy. She's going to be fine. You know what I'm saying? And there was some issues going on with Katy Perry, which was supposed to win one year, but didn't win because of something else also. So it's a political game, especially when you have to campaign to win. Like people send gift boxes to Grammy voters saying, hey, vote for me. I'm going to give you this gift box. I'm going to give you these tickets. I'm going to give you. So when you have to do all of that, is it really about the music? Or is it a popularity contest? Y'all tell me what you think. Hey, thanks for checking out my video. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, and click a link for some more content.